Welcome to Box Free with Stephanie. Today I want to show you how to make some basic foods with simple ingredients from scratch. And I hope you discover cooking box free is fast and delicious. So let's cook together. Today we're making Pioneer Hobo Bread, which is like a real thing. I thought it was just a recipe I got from my Auntie Lori, but it's actually like a real thing. So let's just start. Okay. Oh, so the first thing we have to do is start with raisins. Okay. So we're going to do 1 cup of raisins into a heat-proof bowl. Whoopsie, look at the dog eating that later, even though they're not supposed to eat raisins. 1 raisin will be fine. Okay, this is a brand new thing of raisins, so they're all stuck together. Okay, so you're going to do 1 cup of raisins, and then you're going to add 1 cup of hot water. So this is water that's not boiling. I don't know if you can, there's like barely any steam. You could use hot tap water, but my tap water is never like super hot. So I usually, you can see the steam now, right? So it can be boiling water if you want, but, oh, that's kind of hard to fit in there. But basically you just want really hot water. And I believe that the whole intent of this, I mean, I know it is to like plump up your raisins, but like my raisins are nice because I go to the store whenever I want to, and I'm not a Pioneer woman, so I don't have to. But in the Pioneer days, I'm sure their raisins were like old and dried and really hard. And so, oh, hang on, I gotta set my timer for 5 minutes. So my point is, I think the hot water really did soften up their raisins instead of having like these hard little nuggets. You really needed that hot water to soften them. So that's my theory, and I'm gonna go with it because it sounds good, fun. Okay, so we let this sit for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna add some soda and butter to it. And the butter is supposed to melt in the hot water. That's the other reason why you kind of want nice hot water. So again, it can be boiling, but mine I always just heat kind of to steaming or whatever, really nice and warm, and that seems to work. Okay, so then in your bowl you're going to do flour. So I got 2 cups of flour that we're going to add, and then like that. Baking powder. We need 1 teaspoon of baking powder, like that. And then we need salt, which is 1 teaspoon. Oh, my salt is like all humid and whacked out. Okay, we're gonna call that good enough. Oh, look at that thing. That is nuts, wow. Okay, 1 thing of salt, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then brown sugar, 1/3 cup of brown sugar. So the thing that well, I mean, there's all kinds of things I like about this recipe, but I just think it's so cute that like it's all stuff that the pioneers would have, or like a hobo would have, you know, back in the 60s. I don't know, when hobos were like a thing and whatever, I don't know. But my point is, it's all just like really simple ingredients, you know. The brown sugar is like the fanciest thing, and I suppose an egg, but you know, chickens were common, so whatever, people had eggs. So you combine this, and you really are doing this just to make sure your baking powder and your baking soda, wait, we haven't added the soda, baking powder and salt is all mixed in with your brown sugar, because brown sugar does tend to like clump up or whatever, and you don't want that in your Pioneer Hobo Bread. So, okay, so it's been like 3 minutes, we're going to call that good enough, and add the next thing to our hot water. So I need 2 tablespoons of butter, so we're going to say 1, 2, just about like that. And this is the only butter that you add into this recipe. So I don't know, it's really, I guess you would say it's definitely, I think, a lower fat, if that's concerning to you. But I just like to stir it around a little bit because it's fun to watch it melt, and I need it to melt anyway. So I'm going to let that sit, and then I need to do 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then this usually fizzles, I think. I can't remember. Yeah, there it is. Didn't fizzle much, but, and you also want to stir that in. So you kind of wait for your butter to get all nice and melted. So I was actually like checking out Hobo Bread online or whatever, Like it really is a real thing. It dates back to like, for sure the 1930s. People would take it on the trains or whatever when they were commuting to work, although I'm sure it wasn't called commuting. And then they would use it like a sandwich bread, like lunch meat. They would put roast beef and ham and turkey, and they would use it as a dessert bread, which it only has 1/3 of a cup of sugar, and we're putting it in a loaf pan. And with the raisins, they thought it was like sweet enough to be a dessert bread. So I just think it's really interesting. Like our taste buds have changed so much. We're so like used to sweet things. And so anyway, I'm curious to see what you guys think of this, because I think it's a really nice breakfast bread. I use it mostly for breakfast. I make nice thick slices, and then I put it in the toaster and put a bunch of butter on, and it's just so good. I've never made French toast with it, but I bet it'd be really good. Or heck, you could try it like the Pioneer and put some turkey and cheese and see how that is. I don't know, I've never done that. But I just thought it was pretty cool that hobo bread was like a real thing. So it really has been around a long time. And if you go to the Farmer's Almanac, they talk about it quite a bit. So pretty cool. And I've had this recipe for a long, long time. I got it from my aunt a long time ago, and we use it quite a bit. So now, okay, I got my raisins, water, soda, butter, flour, baking powder, salt, and brown sugar. Okay, so now I have my egg and my mixture. I'm just going to combine all of these, and then you put it in the pan. It's so fast. The longest thing is to wait like the hour that it takes to bake it. But whatever. Get a lot done in an hour. So I'm going to add my 1 egg, which I got my brown egg, which kind of goes with the whole Pioneer theme, right? So we're going to call that good. Oh shoot, I was supposed to butter my pan a little bit. You do want, oh, there's my 5 minutes. We kind of cheated on that, and that's okay. You do want a nice greased pan, probably because your batter is not going to be like super oily and won't pop right out. I've never made this in muffin, or maybe I did one time. I didn't like them as much, so seems like the loaf pan is the way to go with Pioneer bread. Okay, so then we're going to dump in our raisins, which are all plumped up, and that basically provides our water. So like there's no milk, because hey, the Pioneers couldn't travel with milk, right? Well, they had cows, I guess. They maybe did have milk. But this is the hobo bread, when you don't have a lot of resources. So maybe just mix it up. And you do want to mix this nicely, and it should turn into a really nice batter with a whole bunch of raisins. So like maybe it really should be a dessert bread. But it's really good as breakfast. Oh, and I know the Farmer's Almanac was saying that people put cream cheese on it, like a bagel kind of thing, and that was kind of a cool idea. So, all right, so this is what you're going for, just a nice gloppy dough that's all mixed nicely together. And then you're going to put that into your pan, your loaf pan, your greased loaf pan, and scrape out all the good stuff, because Pioneers would never leave all that good batter in the bowl. So we gotta do it the right way here, which, I mean, I don't leave it in the bowl either, so whatever. But anyway, this is just a really fast thing. I mean, it's been like 5 minutes, I think, since we started. So now I think I usually put cinnamon and sugar on here. So I think, and I just kind of like to spread it out, because it is such a kind of a dense batter. It doesn't like, you know, run out the way a cake batter might. So I'm going to just sprinkle cinnamon and sugar, because I'm not a Pioneer, and I have this extra sugar, and I have the option to do that. And I like to do that with my baked goods normally, and I kind of go heavy on it because the cinnamon's really good. So that's it. That was super fast for Pioneer Hobo Bread. So now we're going to pop it in the oven the long way, and it's at 350, and we're going to bake it for, my recipe says 45 to 60 minutes, okay, which is like a gigantic range when baking. But I think you just have to watch this. And I don't really know why I don't have more of a defined time on my recipe, but I'm going to set my timer for 45 and just check it every few minutes. So we'll be back in 45 minutes. Okay, we are back. Our Pioneer Hobo Bread is baked. Unfortunately, I don't know how long I baked it, because I totally forgot to set my timer, And like 15 minutes later, I could kind of smell it, and I was like, oh, I didn't set my timer. So 45 to 60 minutes, we'll just go with that. So if that happens to you, because I have not, I have done this before, the nice thing about baking bread is it will basically tell you when it's ready by smelling it. You'll smell the bread baking. And then of course you can use your toothpick or your reusable cake tester, and you just poke it in, and if it comes out clean, then that means your bread is done. So this has actually been sitting out like 7 or 8 minutes because again, when you bake bread products, you want them to cool in the pan for at least 5 minutes, maybe even 10, and then it should pop right out. So I'm just going to loosen it here because looks like some of my cinnamon sugar got a little bit hard on the edge. But I was going to say that one of the reasons I like to put cinnamon sugar on my baked goods, it does make it like brown and shiny, kind of like this has kind of dulled down, but when I first took it out of the oven, it was just really shiny and pretty. And so all these little places where like the dough or the batter has like cracked through, that's like light tan, and then where my sugar is, it's like dark brown. And so anyway, it just makes it, I think adding cinnamon sugar or any kind of like sugary thing that bakes and gets kind of shiny makes it look a little bit nicer. And then it has a nice cinnamon taste. So anyway, I do like adding it for that. So this should just pop right out like that. And it's nice in there, solid. And then you can put it on a cooling rack like this. So this has cooled for the 8 minutes, so it's not like crazy hot. So we're going to go ahead and cut into it so you guys can see what it looks like. But normally when you bake it, you want to let it cool for at least 5 or 10 more minutes before you serve it. But whatever, if you don't want to wait, you don't have to. So I'm going to put it on my cutting board. And this is my wooden cutting board that I only do bread on. You don't want to do like onions and green peppers and especially meat on here. But mostly because if I were to put this hot bread onto here, then slice it open, you take a bite of it and it's like, smells kind of like onion or green pepper, and like that's not what you want. And I've done that before. So when you have nice, beautiful bread to cut, always use a cutting board that is like just for bread and nothing else. And then always use a serrated blade. Serrated blades cut bread much nicer, and you don't just want to go like, you need to do like a sawing back and forth action. So we're going to cut this heel off, show you what that looks like. Beautiful. And then we're going to cut the next slice. Oh, and I put my butter away. That is what we're going for. Oh my gosh. I think I could be a pioneer and eat Pioneer Hobo Bread every day. So let's do this the real way. You want to, I think you want to serve this with butter. So going to slice this in half, and then I'm not very shy when it comes to my butter on the hobo bread, because if I'm a hobo, I need all the calories I can get, right? I'm going to burn them off walking the Pioneer Trail and feeding my horses and my cattle, and okay, I'll stop. That's enough. Anyway, it's really good with butter, so let's just take a little bite. You guys have got to try this. It's so good. So the brown sugar and the raisins really do make it sweet. Like you really could see why this is called a dessert bread. It is so good. And it's just kind of like a denser feel. It's not like cake where it's light and airy. It's a little bit denser than muffins. It is just absolutely delicious. So there is our Pioneer Hobo Bread. So I really hope you make it, and I hope your family loves it. I really appreciate your time watching Box Free with Stephanie. I hope you like the show, and I will see you guys next time. All right, thanks.